Hello, hello, hello. Bianna in the mini language, Bianna. Ewa. In the mini language is hello in the mini language. Today we are going to talk about the fact that we had a chance to be put in an article for a publication by somebody who I met at an event at ECN, Eastside Community Network. Then we did a watershed planner. Detroit River watershed planner. Got put the Detroit River in there. And that's when we met and spent more time together with doing that over a year. And I guess you noticed I was doing a whole lot of things with ECN. And in events, because I had met her when she did a presentation with this other organization she was with, United Way. And that's when I met her. And I gave her my card. And I guess she kept it because she didn't get in touch with me about neighborhood tours Detroit. So, to my surprise, she asked me, would I be willing to do an article about doing tours? Because she knew I had did tours, she had heard about that. And I agreed to do so, and just so happened, just by chance, this newspaper, not newspaper, but this online publication was doing something different. They was allowing the residents with no background history or no educational history of journalism to write stories and with their choice. You probably had to meet the editor's approval, but it would have been their choice. So they're thinking outside the box to draw some more attention to themselves. This other organization that did it before, I guess it's picking up. Because other organizations that did it the year before, because I didn't know what they was doing until they emailed me back, and I went to their presentation and seen what they was doing. There was Detroit Historic Society. They got a Detroit Historic Museum in Detroit, down there in Woodward, not too far from the boulevard. So I joined them because it's free to join, and I checked them out for this one, something that's happening on Mack Avenue. They had a park on Mack Avenue. And that's a question I want to ask them about the Negro League on Mack Avenue. So that's when I met up with them one time. Come find out, you get on the email list because you want your email. So I was on the email list, and they would email out an opportunity to make a suggestion about a exhibit they was going to have. But they wanted to know who would be a good person for that. So I went to the past, somebody that had history in the past. But they wanted to be somebody current, so they were doing something outside the box. And it was, when they invited me to the grand opening, they bragging about how it was so successful because they was doing something different because they didn't have the foot traffic they wanted to have in there. And they was talking about how low their foot traffic is because even though they bring in new exhibits, it wasn't attracting people. Not like this one did because it's about people that's current in Detroit doing something in Detroit. A couple of people I suspect that I would not have suggested them doing it, it was their choice. And they hadn't had long history doing something. One person had didn't have long history at all, but he got some newsworthy attention, and I think that's why they chose him. But so they pretty much the same idea that they was. And here's you are thinking outside the box. I like that. Now you think outside the box, you got my attention. So there is this opportunity came. You get a siphon to get paid to write an article, and I applied for it, not knowing that Marie had applied for it. The person's name is Marie with me because I use her middle name, not her first or last name. And because she answered to it. Let her know that you answer to it, and I like it because I got Marie's in my family. Auntie Marie, and I think the first girlfriend, I don't think, but I know the first girlfriend I was with was Marie, and I used to call her Marie. She had an E at the end of her name, I put the E at the end of her name because it reminded me of my Auntie Marie. That's where I got that from. So that's the backstory on Marie with me. So it was kind of ironic that I had, applied too, not knowing that she did. And I let her know that. I said, yeah, I know exactly what you're doing, because she told me she's with this publication and she's doing a story. I said, I know all about it because I applied for it. So I agreed to do the story. Chose Chandler Park because it's close to my house, and it was on my app, as far as self-tour app, Pocket Sites, and that's what we did. We went to Chandler Park. She took some pictures. We had a conversation about Chandler Park, history of the neighborhood, and some of the things I had been doing over the years. I submitted one of my pictures that was taken of me when I was a little boy, about 8 years old. So it was about 1964. We were about 2 years into the neighborhood, moving in the neighborhood in 1962. And it finally got published last month in June of 2025. And it got picked up by another publication too. So it caught fire a little bit. So as another person that added to the storyline that worked for ECN. And she has some backstory because we know her from working at ECN the last 5 years. Stanley. And her last name is Stanley. Trying to think of her first name. If I don't hear her first name in a while, it throws me off. But it will come to me. Anyway, Stanley is her last name. So we'll get her first name come to me sooner or later. Erin, that's her name, Erin. Many times I heard people call her name. It didn't take for me to lose track of that. Erin Stanley. So she had to put her 2 cents in. And she kept it up, of course, but I ain't mad at her. And so the publication got shared out with the watershed planners. Trout River Watershed Planners and ECN shared it out with some of the other members. And it's been shared out pretty good. I shared it out with my family members. I shared it out on the tour group page I have on Nextdoor. And I have not shared it out. I shared it out on Facebook with the writing group I have on Facebook. That's with some family members. So I'm going to continue to share it out. I'm going to share it out on LinkedIn as well as another family group. So I'm going to continue to share it out and see what happens from there. So that's the first time I did that publication. It's been 5 years. It's been a little over 5 years since I've been planning on doing these tours. It's been like back in 2020, 2019, so it's 2025. So 2019, before the pandemic, we had some money. They came in with this other group I was with. If only we had spent that money the way I had suggested. We had enough money to do one, to create a nonprofit as well one for profit. And that was our conflict. One person wanted to do it for profit. The other person wanted to do it as me. I wanted to do it as a nonprofit. And the leadership roles was not where I wanted to be, so we severed ways. We went our separate ways, no hard feelings. But I kept it going. I don't think they did. One lady, she was already established doing it, so I don't know if the other 2 did or not. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4 of us. We was the core 4 out of everybody that had participated in this group that was done with Michigan. University of Michigan had got some grant money to do it, and they was using ECN, probably as a fiduciary, and allowed them to use their space. And then, they needed a fiduciary so they could be the facilitator. They weren't paying us to create tours, but they were setting us up with some support service to do tours. That's what they was about. Because my tour, I kind of messed up with it a little bit because they were doing bus tours mostly, and I wanted to do a bicycle tour. But I look back on it now, I could have did a walking tour. And that would have been even better. It would have been low cost. But you can't not turn back the hand of time and bring that back. So anyway, that's what's happening. This is the first time we had publications and recognition with the tour app. And just to go show you, I've been sticking with the tour app. I remember I took one person out with the tour app. And I didn't tell her a whole lot as she asked questions. I always refer back to the app. I said, yeah, I got that question answered on the app. I got that question answered on the app. Because that's the whole purpose of having the app, is people to use it. If If I give you the information, that defeat the purpose of me having the app. And the app is all about giving you all the information I can gather online for free. I give you enough information that you can be the tour guide. That's the whole key to a self-tour app. It's me, I have to do it on a tour builder. That's a website that's set up as a tour builder. So I have to get the information offline, go out and take pictures, and upload the pictures and match that up with location there, the GPS location that you map up, that you match up with your tour builder. So it's a long process. It's a 3-step process. Then I add on some YouTube videos that I put 15-second spin on something and want to be too long-winded with the YouTube videos. So I have to get mine in 15 seconds. So that's when I started doing YouTube videos because it's free to do on the tour app. The tour app also had a connection with SoundCard. I think it was SoundCard. Anyway, it was another program that you would have to download and get a prescription depending on that site. So I think it was SoundCard. But anyway, I didn't want to do that. So I'm paying enough just for use this tour app. I'm not going to add it. Had no additional cost, especially when they get YouTube for free. So that's when I started my YouTube channel, Adventure, from putting it on the tour app. So now I got over 300 people following me on YouTube, and I finally got pretty good at it. Now I'm learning how to blow it up. And I'm using it right now on this site right here with the podcast. So learning how to do all that. That was a learning curve. They add that on to Neighborhood Tours with a podcast just to talk about tours. My other podcasts, I talk about everything from A to Z. Cooking book, to what's happening at the Trinity Garden, to what's happening other things. It's wide open. But this one with Riverside is going to be strictly for the tours. Detroit. Anything related to neighborhood tours, Detroit. So that's what's happening with that. So we are on publication with Planet Detroit. That's the name of the publication. Another publication is another nonprofit. It's a nonprofit. Both of these are nonprofit publications. So that's kind of cool. The nonprofit will cover another nonprofit. And Bridge Detroit is another one that picked up the story. That's another nonprofit online publication. So we got 2 publications that picked up the story. So I know Marie, she's ecstatic about it, and I'm happy about it. And, I didn't get a chance to get chosen for the internship or the opportunity to write an article, but I was ended up being part of the article. And that's the funny part. And so with that, we will say Saw, which is bye-bye in the Mini language.